well. Today I wanted to do another tribute video to somebody who's been fairly influential in my life. Earlier on this year I heard that one of my friends from school had unfortunately passed away. It's the same age as me, so far too young to have passed away. So I wanted to pay a bit of a tribute to Tom. Tom was one of my first friends. I knew him from nursery school, and he lived across the road from me, but actually across the road, but his house faced onto a cul-de-sac facing away the other side. So actually I lived on one road, then there was the big road, then there was a hedge, then there was Tom's garden, then there was Tom's house, then there was Tom's cul-de-sac. Not obviously his cul-de-sac, the cul-de-sac where he lived. So one of my earlier memories was making a tunnel through the hedge in the back of his garden so that we could pop through without going all the way around. We could just pop through the garden, through the hedge, across the road to visit each other's houses. And Tom and I used to play Hero Quest together, and we used to play Talisman together. He's the reason that I first found out about Red Dwarf, because he liked to watch the cooler things that I was not aware of at the time. And when we started collecting Warhammer, we started collecting and playing together. And although we started playing using the how to play guides that were readily available at the local toy shop, which is where we got our miniatures from, we didn't have a Games Workshop anywhere near us, so we were buying whatever selection of random blisters they had on display in this toy shop, which made for some very eclectic armies, which is exactly how I still like to play. But he owned the first genuine rulebook that we started playing from, although being 8, 9, 10, something like that, we weren't playing the full rules of Warhammer Fantasy Battle 3rd edition. But I was mostly captivated by the artwork and the miniatures in these books. We were this was coming to the mid to late era of 4th edition, so already the miniatures had moved on quite a lot in aesthetic from the 3rd edition miniatures, but even then I preferred the look of the miniatures that were in this book to those that were on the shelves previously. If only I'd gone to mail order and bought more miniatures then when I could, but I didn't have a credit card. I only got to rob my parents' credit card occasionally, so I didn't. And I'd have probably given them away in any case, which is what I stupidly did with my collection. But so Tom had the first rule book, and actually this isn't his rule book. He did give me it later in life. Give me his copy, and when that started falling apart, I rebound it into the first of the volumes of my Warhammer Encyclopedia. So Tom's version is preserved in the pages here, and is actually signed by Brian Ansell and Kev Adams, and I think Richard Helliwell this one as well. So yeah, it still remains an heirloom. Tom was one of these guys who was into skateboarding and mountain biking and playing the guitar and cool things, some of which I got into in later life, some of which I never got into. I'm terrible on the skateboard, and I didn't actually learn to ride a bike properly until I was at university, because I was always just a bit scared of cycling around. So yeah, I could not hold a candle to Tom in those regards, which is why when we got to middle school, because we had a three-tier system, Tom went off with the cool crowd doing his BMXing, and I did not go off with the cool crowd. But he was such a thoroughly decent chap, and so easygoing and so laid back that really didn't matter to him. It mattered to a lot of other kids at school, but he actually stuck by me and continued to be my friend when a lot of my previous friends who were in the cool crowd had gone off to do their thing with their cool mates. So he still continued to have some associations with me, which was nice, and we still played the more nerdier games together as well when he wasn't doing his cool things. He was a bit of a class clown, which helped, I think, to the extent that one of our cooler teachers at school gave him the name Snotling, because we were all into. He knew, or the teacher knew that we were into Warhammer, and wanted to be able to call out the class clown on a few occasions, so he got nicknamed Snotling. But I don't think his cool mates quite got the association, but we got the association. Us nerdy kids got the association. And then we went up to upper school, and I kind of lost contact, although we still lived in the same village. We were going to different places, had different classes, had different classmates, but I still occasionally heard from him, and we kept in touch via Facebook when Facebook became a thing. And I was still extremely impressed by the things that he did. He went to work on an oil rig for a little while, and then he went to the States and joined the fire service, and then he got hold of an old vintage big American school bus, and converted that into a van for living in, and then he brought it back to this country and was renting it out as a holiday let, and driving people around the country on sort of honeymoon jaunts and things, camping out in this big old American school bus, doing really cool things. So he's a guy who has always done the coolest things, and I am including playing Warhammer with me in those coolest things. And sadly is no longer with us, but Tom, I owe you an awful lot for getting me through middle school, if nothing else. So thank you. I'm so sorry and so sad that you aren't around anymore, but I want to do something to remember Tom by. So what I thought I would do is, given that he was in the fire service, and given that he loved BMXing, and given that his nickname at school was Snotling, I thought I would make a BMXing fire Snotling, or a Snotling with a fire helmet riding a BMX, and then I'll find a fire service related charity, and I'll get it sculpted up and do a limited release, and donate the money to that charity, or possibly get in touch with Tom's parents and see if there's a charity that I can donate that to. See last week's video. Pretty busy at the moment. I don't know when that's going to happen, but as soon as I get the opportunity to, I will do that, and I will let you know. Thank you for joining me for this little reminisce. Next week we're going to be looking at another one of these classic books, but it isn't this one. Stay tuned next week to find out which one it is. Take care, and I will see you then.